relationship.
They're sorry about. Well, he didn't enumerate the reasons for which he was making the apology, but take a listen.
Yeah, research every year. Nimse abai any a party. Yeah, infomso. Yeah, infomso. Bebre ewo ye governance no mo. Niema wo ha afise ye beye yanye. Ye may be true wa yeah anka ye hu from the background so ye enti mejina ha ye nyina ye ka ho bi. Vice President, ministers, MPs, board chairman, appointees, yenyina ya yem from so pacho mon fan chain why mon fan chain yenyina ya from so mon fan chain na yesua your lessons nyame adom ena mode franka ne hyemensa me be ye president ambassador ya belle ni your lessons mon fan chain ambassador ye to abay ye research ewie ye nimse aban ene ye party ya ye infomso bebre ewo ye governance no mo niema wo ha afise ye beye yanye ye may be true wo ha ye anka ye hu from the background so ye enti mejina ha ye nyina ye ka ho bi. Vice President, ministers, MPs, board chairman, appointees yenyina ya yem from so pacho mon fan chain why mon fan chain yenyina ya from so mon fan chain na yesua your lessons nyame adom ena mode franka ne hyemensa me be ye president ambassador ya belle ni your lessons mon fan chain ambassador
3FM 92.7 Urban Lifestyle Radio Station.
Embasabium. Let's talk about this apology in some more detail. I've got on the telephone line Professor Enoch Opoku Entry, governance expert, no stranger to our MG platforms. Also on the phone lines this morning, Mr. Stephen Osei Achiam, political and communication expert. Gentlemen, hello, good morning.
Good morning, Helen.
Thank you so much for joining us on the program. Hope you're both doing well.
You are by God's grace.
Yeah, on my end, everything is great.
Fantastic. Prof, let me start off with you on this particular score. We just played a clip there of former Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia addressing NPP supporters and by extension Ghanaians at large, indicating that he's sorry for any misgovernance that transpired over the last 8 years. Your preliminary thoughts on his media encounters so far, and then we'll zone into this particular conversation that has got many people now talking, wondering why at this time, what is the motive, and how productive is this type of speech going to be?
Thank you, Ellen. I think these questions are very pertinent. First, why the sudden apology? Everybody should be asking themselves that question. Why the sudden apology? Because MPP lost the elections on December 7th, 2024. And it's over 9 months. So why the sudden apology? I think that he's just playing politics to win sympathy votes because he's painting a picture to look humble in the eyes of the MPP delegates. And it means there's nothing special because it appears that the other contestants are hitting hard on his credibility and eligibility as well as his winnability. And because of that, it makes the campaign message very difficult to set the MPP grassroots to be on his side. And his only option is that plausible scenario is to play on the emotions of the MPP delegates by apologizing.
You say this is an emotional ploy?
Yes.
Now, this isn't the first time, though, that we've heard Dr. Bawumia render some type of apology. You recall during the thank you tour that happened sort of at the start of the year, which I'm not entirely sure if they were able to even complete that thank you tour, there was some mention of wrongdoing, or at least some concession there being made by the former vice president that things hadn't always gone according to plan. Has he not been remorseful, though, from a little while ago, not just from recent times?
I think that comparably, Dr. Bawumia has done better than Nanado. If you look at the administration of MPP for the past 8 years before NDC came in, Nanado was totally in charge. And I've said on many platforms that the de facto vice president was Kanofureta, not Bawumia. So there are a lot of things that Bawumia said. He levied that he would scrap it when he was contesting as a presidential candidate. You remember the LGBT issue.
Indeed.
There are a lot of issues that Bawumia was against, but his own party did not listen to him. So President Kufuor said that Nanado should apologize to Ghanaians for the hardships, for the way they handled power, the way they respected Ghanaians, and that was Kufuor's advice to Nanado, but Nanado did not heed that advice. So if Bawumia has apologized, that is the right thing to do. But I thought that Nanado will apologize first before Bawumia also apologizes. So on that comparison, I will give Dr. Bawumia some credit for apologizing to Ghanaians, because he was supposed to even apologize first before going on thank you tour. But that did not happen. And I was thinking that on his thank you tour that generated a lot of hula baloo, he would have gone with, he was going with Kennedy Japan and the others.
That's
and then
right.
Something happened and then they split. But I was thinking that he will apologize first before saying thank you, because you don't go on a thank you tour when people have voted against you.
Certainly, Prof. Thank you for those thoughts. I will come back to you. I want to find out if you think that this apology is sufficient for the depth of wrongdoings that Ghanaians perceive were meted out to them by the NPP government. Ruminate on that for me. Let me come to Mr. Stephen Osei Acham. And good morning again. Let me ask you, how effective was Bawumia's messaging strategy in this apology to Ghanaians?
Right. Thank you so much for this opportunity, and I say a very good morning to our listeners. I think that Dr. Bawumia, being a politician, its effectiveness of that communication, I don't think that we will be able to give its effect at the moment. We can't say that it's effective or not, because he apologized not long ago. But of course, he is trying to really use one of the very persuasive appeals in communication, where when you use the pathos, you are looking at appealing to the emotions of the people. So at this point, he's looking at how to, just as the earlier speaker said, the emotional appeal, but then its effectiveness, as I said, it will take some time. Now the point is that why the apology, and at this point, I think that I may want to look at the apology from maybe one angle, looking at the people within the MPP. So the delegates, they know that if that is the case, then that is fine. But if you are looking at apologizing to Ghanaians, just as stated in his video, then you ask yourself whether the timing is even right. You only want to appeal emotionally by apologizing to Ghanaians when you've gotten the nod to be the presidential candidate for the MPP, for which reason you want to start with your campaign and then start seeking for the apology. But then, of course, I think this apology must go to the electorates within the MPP party and the MPP fraternity as a whole. Its effectiveness can only be determined later.
Right. Now, what are the risks then of public skepticism or backlash to such apologies, given our current, shall I say, media landscape or environment?
Specifically, Galamsey?
No, I'm talking about the risk of public skepticism, given the current media environment. So now this has gone viral, but especially the youth, they don't seem convinced about it. What are the risks of making these types of public declarations, in that it could go actually the opposite direction of what the vice president or former vice president was wishing for?
Yes, exactly. So I have read a lot of some few news items since he made that statement, and then yes, the youth on social media, Facebook and X, you see so many, more or less, I would say, attacks on the vice president's comment, the former vice president's comment he made. And look, if you are to judge from the responses I have read on social media, then it's more or less, it wouldn't work for the vice presidential candidate. It's seen as one of the headlines that I read is like, no, this is not the time to apologize to us. You were part of the administration. You were in charge of the economic management team and all that. So for them, for the youth, we always say that the internet doesn't forget. And
That's
everything
right.
that you said, because once upon a time, the vice president said that he was more or less the digital person coming in to help the economy, and if the fundamentals are weak, all those comments are there. So now, and saying that you have all the right experts, as in to form the cabinet to lead. So then, with the right cabinet, why do you now come in to say you apologize? Is it that people actually complain, the complaints of the people, which through social media, through the media itself, the mass media itself, is it that they were not hearing or they were not listening? So at this point, it's more or less something that's not going to favor. It wouldn't favor the vice president at the moment. That's why I mentioned that at this point it should be an apology to the MPP party people and then the supporters and all that, so that later, if you get a nod, then you start looking at it. But at the moment, looking at the media landscape, it's not working. It's not working for the vice president at all.
Thank you for those thoughts. Let me bring Prof back into the conversation and ask that question one more time. Prof, I wanted to find out from you, was this apology sufficient in acknowledging the depth of governance lapses under the New Patriotic Party?
Alan, that's a very important question. Sufficiency. I don't think it is sufficient to suffice the pain that Ghanaians went through throughout the past 8 years of MPP administration. But it was the right thing for him to do, apologizing on his own behalf, the presidency, the board chairs, government appointees, CEOs. So he has taken the blame as a former vice president of the country. And I think that is the right thing. When we talk about apology, it borders on two things, perception and then sincerity. So was he sincere in his apology? That's the question that every Ghanaian can, put a lot of thinking into it and then decipher whether he was sincerely apologetic or not. The other one is the perception. Are they perceiving that he's telling the truth or not? So the context of the apology is key in Ghanaians accepting his apology or not. And I think that apologies could mend relationships and then between the government and the people. So he's trying to bridge that gap of the relationship between the people and then his administration, because over 1.7 million people did not vote for them. And because of that, he has to apologize. But if you look at the context here is the MPP delegates that he's trying to woo to vote for him in the upcoming presidential elections, presidential candidacy elections for the MPP. So the context is for MPP delegates, not all Ghanaians.
Right.
And in that stance, it is up to the MPP people themselves to forgive him or not before they come to the Ghanaians, the entire Ghanaian population.
Certainly. Now, would you say, let's expand the conversation a little bit. Would you say that this could be an opportunity for the party as a whole, the New Patriotic Party, to reposition itself as a party committed to reform? Do you think that at the very least, when, shall I say, maybe tensions simmer, it'll send the signal that this is a party that is committed to, one, acknowledging mistakes and asking for forgiveness when the time is right, and then also hopefully, possibly reforming and changing their actions?
Alain, our elders say, if you don't have an elderly person in your home, then woe betide you. That is what our elders say. When ex-President Kufuor talked about the corruption, he cited impunity, he cited arrogance of power and severe economic difficulties. That these are the four reasons why he's asking the SY administration to apologize to Ghanaians, they did not listen. So why after 9 months that they are apologizing? And it tells you how much MPP needs to learn from this situation. But the secret of being humble is that if you are a proud person, history has shown that you are easily forgotten. Right from Nebuchadnezzar and the others. If you become an arrogant leader, you are easily forgotten when you are out of office. That's so MPP, it is up to them to learn how to be humble, because leadership and accountability and humility goes hand in hand. So I think that they should learn from this, which is very important. And then moving forward, they should show signs of humility in appealing to Ghanaians, because the arrogant stand that they have even witnessed for the past 9 months about the mighty minority and this and that, it's not helping the party. They need cool heads, to be more humble, because that was a humiliating defeat. To be more humble and then appeal to Ghanaians in a different perspective. But if they want to go the arrogant way in fighting back power, then it's going to be a long time for them to be in opposition.
A lot has been said about this tagline or the tag that the minority put on themselves as, mighty minority. I'm isolating that because I want to pick your thoughts on that. Is that just not a way to boost morale within themselves? As you mentioned, it's a bit of a defeat, quite a blow to the ego of the party. Is that sort of framing not just helping them to not crumble entirely?
Ellen, Akwatia even made it worse. If you went to school like Opokuare, or you went to Presec or Buche or Rosis or any school, have you seen those schools calling themselves mighty this or great that? It is the lower schools that call themselves great this, mighty this. So if you are great or if you are mighty, you don't have to tell anybody. People will know you are mighty.
Right.
Once you begin to use those adjectives to qualify your name, it means that there's a problem. You are just tickling yourself and then laughing at the same time. So they should move away from that area where they want to see that they want to show that they are something, when it is only your action that shows that you are something. So I think that the headship of MPP now, those who are leading the party now, the party needs to look at them and see whether they are fit for purpose at this time. Because they need people, individuals who are experienced, individuals who are humble, with good track record, credibility, who are humble, but not those who are going to be arrogant. Because when you are in opposition, yes, you need the empathy and sympathy and compassion of followers to come on your side. And this standard they've taken is not going to help the party.
Thank you for that, Prof. Let me also pick the thoughts of Mr. Osei-Akyari on this particular issue, this language of mighty minority. Is it just not a way to boost morale, Stephen, or is it language that could be detrimental? Some might say, well, they're only trying to let their followers know that they might be down, but they're not completely out for the count.
Well, yes. Before I come to that, Prof mentioned something that was very important with regards to that is being humble when you are in government, or even when you are not in government and opposition and all that. Yes, it's very important. I just want to put on record that I think that from my lenses, Dr. Bawumia has that sense of humility around him, and I think that was exhibited right after the election. It didn't take him too much time for him to concede defeat and congratulate the Prime President of the Republic. And then I know that when he mentioned it, some of the party folks or the party top hierarchy were not actually happy with his very position. And I'm sure it's on a lot of the news items. You heard some of the party people from NPP saying it was too early and all that. But this tells you that that is the kind of person Dr. Bawumia is. I don't know him personally, but this very apology as well is also trying to reinforce or reiterate the fact that this man is someone who is more or less interested in peace and someone who is humble. But then you are looking at just an individual amongst a lot. The NPP is a very big political party, and at the moment they are the biggest opposition party in the country. Now, coming down to the issue of being a mighty minority and all that, yes, you need to show you need to show to your people that you are still relevant within the system, and then you still keep on pushing governments to actually sit on its toes to do things right. Yes, so it is good they actually look at things realistically, things that government decisions and all that, and then criticize them, push government for the right stuff to be done. But for me, I don't know what it means to say a minority that is 90. Unless if you want to go into the literal meaning of 90. I don't think that you still have 90 and then you can equate 90 to minority. I don't think it works that way. So the most important thing is that they should look at what they have to do to make sure the party remains relevant, and also the issue of repositioning the party. I think last month on this same radio, I mentioned the issue of trying to mend all the issues that happen in the party. And Prof mentioned even the former president, John Ajigum Kufuor, if he made certain comments and himself was not listened to, and you happen to be a former leader of the party, the specific party, then there is a problem. And I think on that day, I also mentioned how the Afokos, the Boache Jakons, and then those other people were treated. And I mentioned clearly that the repositioning of the NPP party, they need to go back to these pillars. For which reason I mentioned the Captain Planet issue. You people must come together, work together before you get the kind of power, the 2028 power that they want. As I mentioned, it is possible to get it, but you need to reposition. And in the repositioning, all the relevant parties and the pillars must be brought back. If you don't bring them back, it will be very difficult, because I said, and I always say that these pillars, they have their own constituents. They are Focus, the Cabinet Japons, the Boache Jakons, the Hussein and the rest. These are strong pillars within the party. And some of them, as much as affiliated to or are more closer to President Kufuor, others are closer to Alan Cash, who has his own constituents and all that. For me, if you really want to get power, go back to these people and resolve these problems. Otherwise, the issue of mighty minority wouldn't help. Mighty minority, and you had Marakutia, and now you've lost it. So what does it mean if somebody says we are the mighty minority? You look at the issue, solve your problems within the party, and then you move forward. That's what they have to do.
Now, if you say that it is possible to, get back on track for 2028, that's as far as the New Patriotic Party is concerned, is it really possible? I mean, in your field of expertise of communication, after some of the things that have been said, is a reconciliation and rallying behind one particular individual really possible? Some of the accusations flying from camp to camp have been truly scathing. Is there really a way back to unity at this point?
Okay, thank you. Yes, as a strategic communicator, I'll tell you it is possible.
Really?
Yes, it is possible. Yes, it is.
We've seen the 10 deadly sins of Brian Champon. We've seen, all types of communique. We've seen posters, infographics. Is it really, really possible to get back to unity?
Yes, as I said, as a strategic communicator, it is possible. Now, you see, I relate this to, our traditional setting. You wrong someone, you go to the elders within the community, you admit you're wrong, you go to them, you apologize to them openly. Now, it is possible. Now, you see, politically, you look at it as incorrect. The political incorrectness is that you go back and apologize to, let's say, their Focus, the Boache Jakons, the Alan Chermantins, and the rest. If that could be done openly for Ghanaians and the NPP party members to know that the party leadership have been able to clearly state that we were wrong to have we were wrong to not have been very nice to their Focus and then the Alan Chermantins and the rest. That is the political incorrectness, because the party may not want to go back to Alan Chermantin, even though he has left the party, to say that we are sorry and that we needed to come back. I know, listening to the media from the part of the MPP, they said that it's called political suicide, where you have left the party.
That's right.
The second time he's left, and for which reason they wouldn't want him back. But you see, if you are to link that to the traditional setting where you go to the person and let the person know that, you know what, I wronged you, and I've admitted. For that matter, please come back and let us work together. You do the behind the scenes work, all those stuff. If you're able to do that, then it goes back to what Prof said. The issue of humility, the issue of arrogance of power. If you look at it politically, arrogance of power will prevent people from admitting the wrongs they've done to people, for which reason they need to go and apologize. But from a strategic communications point of view, where you want to go into politics, bringing in politics and make sure you get the numbers, you go back to the people. Let's ask ourselves, why did President John Mahama, why was he the perfect choice for the NDC during this period? there were other people who were interested in that his position, wanting to be the flag bearer. But what happened? So you realize that a lot of things happened behind the scenes. They realized that at the moment he's the most powerful person, the most marketable person within the party, most popular person within the party. So there is nothing like somebody having the ambition to become president. For that matter, you want to go and contest with somebody who is the best person for the party to lead at that moment. So I think the MPP should look at it critically. For me, I will tell you again, it is possible when they go back to the right people to amend all the wrongs that they have done, to correct all the wrongs that they have done to people, because these are pillars in the party. And I always tell you that if you go to the north, the coordinate appoint and their focus, the kind of weight, the kind of support they have at the north, and in the other places, Alan Chemadi himself. Let's ask ourselves, why is it that more or less close to over 2 million Ghanaians abstain from from voting?
Right.
So then you should be asking yourself, why did they? And the research, if they conduct research, I'm sure it will come closer to the fact that people were more affiliated to some of these strong pillars within the party, and for which reason they said, okay, that is fine. If you want to continue this way, then we are not going to vote. So if you really want to get those people coming back, then go to the roots and apologize to them. It is not wrong to apologize and admit your wrongs. It isn't wrong. But politically, it becomes incorrect. We look at it as political suicide or political incorrectness, for which reason you don't do that openly. But Dr. Bawumia has shown that aspect of being humble and admitting to some wrongs and saying that I am, and I'm happy with his communication. If you listen very well, he didn't talk about the president. He didn't talk about the former president, that is the president portfolio. He said, myself as vice president, the ministers, the cabinet ministers, all the board chairs and all that, we have wronged you, and for which reason we beg you, forgive us. If you're able to do that, that is what the party should be able to do, and then bring all the other people together to enable them get it. That's why I always say it is possible. But politically, you look at it where people want to show a little bit of pride and all that, then that is when it may not be possible. But it is.
Certainly. Prof, comment for me on this score. With so much skepticism flying around, how then can, or what metrics would you say the average Ghanaian should look out for to judge sincerity? Does it have to do with delivery? Does it have to do with the actions that follow that apology? Does it have to do with some sort of policy rollout? Not even just in the case of Dr. Bawumia, but expanding it further. How do we know that our politicians are really, truly sorry for some of the bad decisions or bad governance that they indulge in?
Alan, 75% of what we know about people are their body language. And the current president, when he was speaking about Galamsey, Manasseh Azuri wrote something in his meeting the press about the president's posture. So sometimes you say something, but people watch your demeanor and then your action. In the first place, you were voted out of power because of arrogance. And then you are in opposition and you are showing arrogance. I don't understand this, how they think it's going to work for them that way. So Dr. Bawumia showing that kind of humility and coming to tell Ghanaians that we are sorry. Change starts from within, not from without. So let's see, among the MPP people, do they genuinely believe that Dr. Bawumia is sincere? And I've had, as I speak to you, a couple of MPP people have sent me messages that no, it's next to nothing, it's not going to do anything. And like I said, it's about playing on their emotions to get the votes you want so that you can win the presidential candidate slot. So they don't believe he's being sincere. They think that the urgency of this time, that he needs a vote is why he's saying that. But when he wins, it's going to be the same. Nothing will change. And that's a problem. When they granted amnesty, that everybody in MPP should come. So the Mawusu said that is, monkey the work thing, that they want them to come and do monkey work because now MPP is in opposition. And when they win, they will sidestep all the other people. Well, that means that we still have problems. Dr. Kennedy, that I know very well in South Carolina, because once he wrote the book, Chasing the Elephant to the Bush, and they bastardized him in the MPP, he came and practiced his medicine at South Carolina rather, that I know he's there.
Right.
And he said that before the amnesty is granted, they should apologize to Ghanaians. So, you see, a lot of well-meaning MPP people, and this thing, I've never said it anyway. Most people who know me know that I got myself involved in Ghana politics when I was like 14 years.
14 years?
From my father, yes.
I see.
Those who know me from University of Cape Coast debates that I was making, and so I've been in the last year for a long time. So what is happening is that I remember meeting Dr. Safwedi. You know, Dr. Safwedi contested in MPP elections, and he told me that, I don't know who you will be and where you will be in life, but I'm telling you this, that MPP, I donated 14 pickups to the MPP, to Professor Dubois. And he said, I'm here dying. He had a heart issue and he was dying. He said that he was given just a box of tea soup and 500 Ghana cedis by the party. Today,
a box of key soap.
Dr. Safwedi's family and also apologize. There are a lot of people who have endured pain in MPP. They gave their all to the party. But in the end, the way they were treated, the same way as Alan was treated. He gave his all to MPP. Alan was Ghana ambassador to US. Then Kufuor brought him to be the trade minister. Remember, even distance learning and Ghana Start Production were all under Ministry of Trade under Alan. So most of Kufuor's policies was being spearheaded by Alan. And look at the way the party has treated him. So they should apologize to a lot of people within the MPP first. Those alive and those who are also gone and rested with the Lord. Some were really pained because the way that political party treated them. So they should apologize to their members first before they come to Ghanaians and apologize to them.
Now, the reason why the New Patriotic Party has indicated that they will be conducting this flag bearership elections come January 2026, a decision that has been widely criticized for its top-down approach or top-down methodology. They say is that it will give the party a chance to rally behind one central figure. What we see day in and day out is an exchange of heavy political blows amongst the camps. Senior lecturer Mr. Osei says that it is possible to reconcile, for them to put those differences aside, and when a flag bearer is elected, rally behind said individual. Is this something that you agree with? I would find it quite interesting if that is possible, because some of the commentary back and forth truly scathing. Is there a possibility that this can be swept under the rug, and once a flag bearer is chosen, all will be well with the party? Or do you suspect maybe that there could be breakaways after January 2026?
So this is another very important question, and I think you're going to be a futuristic person. One interesting thing that I've seen is that Alan and his people, Alliance for Change, are never going to come back. They want to remain where they are, and talking with Ebo and Solomon and the others, clearly they want to make it a political party instead of a movement and register it.
That's right. They say any day now they will be registering it as a party.
Yes. So once that is done, let's pray that when it comes to January and the election is held, and definitely Bawumia is going to win, because the party has made it so that Bawumia must win. And I will talk a little bit about that quickly.
Certainly.
But as soon as Bawumia wins, if care is not taken, Ken's people will also succeed. They will break away from MPP. And that is what Alan people are targeting. Then Ken's people will come and join Alan's people to form a breakaway of MPP. And that chip off is going to be a third force. So if MPP don't take care, when people say that the party is going to be in opposition for a long time, it is starting from this decision that they've made. President Kufuor told them it's a wrong thing, because when you are dressing out as a man, you wear your singlet or your undershirt first, then you wear your shirt before you wear your suit. You don't wear the suit before the shirt, before the singlet. That's the wrong way of dressing. And that is exactly what MPP have done. You go to the polling stations, you do elections, because the chairman at the constituency, we have chairman, vice, women organizer, the same position that you have at the grassroots, the same position you have at national. So you have to do constituency elections, then you go to regional elections, then you go to national elections, and then you have a new voter list, or what they call the voter album. That list will select the new presidential candidates. It means that do you know that there were a lot of people even in MPP who were suspended from the party and they have now come back. Most of them are delegates. Some even have died, and they are supposed to replace them. What is the process of going to replace all these people? Are you using your own people that you think will vote for Dr. Bawumia and put them into the voter album? These are some of the nagging questions that nobody have answered. So they are making a shortcut. NPP have a tradition of always 24 months before the elections, which should have been December 2026, then they elect their flag bearer. So what changed? Because they think other people are contesting and then they will give Bawumia a hard time, let's make it quick so that we endorse Bawumia with the old voter register and then he comes. Now the problem is that in July and other places when they are going to have regional and national elections, already they have a presidential candidate. How are those new individuals going to endorse Bawumia? So the division is going to deepen further.
Prof, very grateful for your time this morning. Of course, this is an ever-evolving conversation. I look forward to getting more of your thoughts and perspectives on our governance system in due course.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a
great day.
You as well. Have a wonderful, wonderful Monday. Let me wrap up then with Mr. Stephen Osei Echao. He's still on the phone lines with us. And my final question then would be, what recommendations would you give for follow-up communication to sustain trust building after such an apology? Because certainly it doesn't end here, or it shouldn't end here.
I think that they all have to be consistent.
Apologies, Mr. Osei, we're losing you a little bit. I can hear some wind. Can you reposition so we get your final thoughts, please?
Yeah, okay.
Perfect. Can you hear me now? Yes, we can hear you.
Just saying that you didn't mean what you have said. Just for change that people within party, they will even that.
Sadly, the line has decided to fail us. If we're able to reconnect, we'll do so. But I think we've had an extensive conversation on this particular issue. Grateful again for your time. We were speaking there to senior lecturer and political communications expert Stephen Osei Echao. Time check, it is some 14 minutes past the hour of 9. This is still 3FM Sunrise on 3FM 92.7.